resistance is futile.
Boldly going where no show has gone before. This is The Week in Geek with David D. Squared and Brian Held. Heard live on News Talk 99.5 WRNO and the iHeartRadio app. Here are your hosts, Brian Held and D. Squared.
Greetings, people of Earth. This is The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I'm your host, D Squared, along with
Brian Held.
Brian Held, how are you, buckaroo?
I am good. I have been sewing all weekend.
Wait, come again?
I've been sewing all weekend. My favorite niece has been in town, and we're working on her Huntress cosplay.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. It's so weird every time you tell me you're sewing.
Yeah, well, I mean, you want something done, you get it done. That's how it works.
Yeah, because sewing's butch.
Yeah. I make it manly.
I kid because I love you. All right, let's hang out the show real quick. All right, as always, we're going to open up the show with top nerd news. And we had a quick addendum to the schedule. Yeah. We have Preston Byers from esports.com, and we're in the finals of the Overwatch League right now.
Right, and he's going to talk about the whole draft process for us, right?
Yeah, and the free agency, man. I mean, it's nuts, dude, because all these original contracts are coming due at the end of this inaugural season.
Right.
And so there's a lot to this. And
there is.
I figured we'd get a pro.
Yeah, and hopefully the Shanghai Dragons can figure something out, right?
They suck balls. They're not going to figure anything out. I mean, they're just going to have to, we're going to have to nuke it from orbit just to be sure.
Right. And then our other guest is author Stephen Moore. He's talking about his Gnome Legends series, and also he has a How to Draw book. That's pretty cool. So.
Take Me Gnome Country Roads?
Yes.
No? Okay.
No.
And then, as always, we'll close out the show like we always do with This Week in Geek History. But let's get to it. And now, your top nerd news stories from around the world, brought to you by the Viridian Tea Company. Find them on Etsy. And now, your top nerd news stories. All right, Brian. Unfortunately, I think we have to get serious, which sucks.
Yeah, it's got to get ugly right out the gate.
Yeah, so Chris Hardwick, I guess Chloe Dykstra is what got this ball rolling, where she published an article about an ex-boyfriend who was not named, who she accused of, sexual assault, just general buttholery.
Gaslighting, all that kind of stuff.
And then blacklisting her career.
Right.
Which is, she worked at the Nerdist, and then all of a sudden, because she was on a cosplay thing on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Heroes of Cosplay?
Yeah. I try to forget about that show because, Han.
Right, yeah. Anyway.
So, but these are some pretty serious allegations.
Absolutely.
But she never named anyone in the article.
That's true.
All right, so fast forward just almost a day later, he responds. So, it's like everybody kind of knew who she was talking about. She never really named it, but she said, a boyfriend of several years. And I think they dated for like 3 years.
Something like that.
And in essence, he says that none of that ever happened.
Right, that it wasn't him. He's,
Right. And while he said that their relationship was by no means perfect, that it was, he denies those claims.
He does, and he accused her of cheating on him.
Yeah, yes, right. He did. He said that was why the entire, relationship fell apart. Now, here's where it gets a little bit wacky, though, too, is because now all of their sponsors, the Nerdist.com, has basically scrubbed his existence from the website.
Right.
AMC, where he's got The Talking Dead, Fear the Talking Dead, and then, Talking with Chris, or whatever the hell it's called. I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
I like The Talking Dead, but here's the caveat to all of this stuff. So now his career is over.
Well,
for the time being.
Right, because all of those locations, okay, first off with the Nerdist, he hasn't been involved with them for at least 2 years.
Okay.
Right, so, them scrubbing it doesn't necessarily seem too out of sorts.
Right.
And then all the Talking Dead type stuff, all the things that he's actively hosting have been suspended pending investigation.
Right. Now here's where I get a little upset about the whole thing, where it's like he was not named personally. She did not call him out as, say, hey, Chris Hardwick sexually assaulted me. You know, she didn't say that. what I'm more upset about is kind of the court of public opinion, where without any real proof, except one article that she wrote, and basically he's done for the time being, pending the investigation.
Right.
But in the court of public opinion, he's been crucified, and where his career was with AMC, that's all done with for now.
And he's pulled out of San Diego Comic-Con as well.
Oh, yeah, because he was supposed to host some of those.
Right.
And there were some other things, too. There was a live comedy. It's a big music festival and comedy.
Right.
I mean, a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so I think what I'm more upset about is just the immediate, instant action taken on him without any, real proof as of yet. Okay, now here's the caveat that I find is that he has already said several times that he has had alcohol abuse issues, drug abuse issues, that he's been clean and sober. So I don't find that her accusations are probably all that off base. I mean, depending upon, all the things that he said about his alcoholism and drug use, he probably beat the crap out of her. He probably assaulted her in other ways. But I just don't like the immediate action where it's like a day later, this dude is screwed.
It is unfortunate that today's climate operates in that fashion. And, it probably would have been a little bit easier if she would have directly named him.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And then we could have started moving forward towards some sort of resolution. And, you don't want to blame the victim at all.
No,
right.
And,
and she probably put this out in a therapeutic type sense, right? And maybe in the effort
to help
of her
others?
Right, to help others, to put that out there, to say, hey, it's all right to speak out, it's all right to recognize this stuff. So it's definitely a really sticky situation. And you're right, I mean, for him to be judged guilty based on this one article so far
now,
is,
if she'd have named him, and also I think you and I were talking earlier where it's like if she'd have brought some legal action to bear on him as well.
Right.
But right now, it's just an article she wrote on the interwebs somewhere and didn't name him.
Yeah.
And so everybody just lost their collective freaking minds. And now, his career's ruined. Now, I don't find it implausible in the least that he tried to blacklist her. I mean, and where he claims, oh, she cheated on me. That's why the whole thing fell apart. A lot of this stuff sounds a little fishy.
Yeah.
I just don't feel that it should have done such swift and immediate justice. Give it a little time to breathe. Get more information.
Right, absolutely.
I mean, I stick my foot in my mouth on a daily freaking basis. It's what I do.
Right.
It's my job. So I feel for him. But, if you're going to come out and say you're a stone cold raging alcoholic and a drug abuser, I'm going to probably lean towards you probably, like to smack a woman around now and again, too, if you're drinking and doing that much drugs. But I don't know. Hopefully everything will come out. I wish she would have named him, and I really wish she would have brought some sort of legal action to bear. That would make this bitter pill easier to swallow, where it'd be like, okay, now let's see what really happens. So now we're still in the court of public opinion, and I want something better than what all this is right now.
Fair enough.
Let's talk about something fun, Brian.
All
please.
right. Yeah, absolutely. Did you see The Incredibles?
I did see The Incredibles.
Yeah, I'm sorry, The Incredibles 2, I should say. Man, it's doing gangbusters, $180 million domestic opening. That makes it the 8th largest all-time opening ever.
Jesus.
Of which Disney now has 9 of the top 10 all-time largest openings.
Yeah. Bleeps.
Yeah.
It's obscene to have that much money.
Well, it's...
Walt Disney's frozen head is spinning around somewhere.
I mean, when
all that money, and he doesn't know what to do with it. He can't use it. It's got no arms. Frozen talking head somewhere. Poor bastard.
When they got Star Wars, they did it right, man. The Empire of the Mouse is here.
So, it's not like a whole lot of spoilerific movie. I mean, it was a fun movie. I liked what they did. I kind of saw they telegraphed it a bit too much. But on the whole Jack subplot was awesome.
Absolutely.
That was hilarious.
And I mean, if you get a chance to see Incredibles before you go see 2, it picks up right after the events of the previous movie.
You know what? The Underminer got away.
Well, he did,
Son of a... He got away.
I know. So our
All right, that's Incredibles 3.
Yeah, right. when they finally bring him to justice.
Yes, take that, Underminer.
But no, they did a great job, and there was what'd you think of the little vignette in the front of it?
I thought it was really cute.
Yeah.
You know, as a parent, it kind of hit me where I lived. It's funny because I'm sitting next to DJ, my 12-year-old, and he's like, "What the hell just happened?" You know, I'm like, that was the mother's journey, and then the mother got shunned by her angsty teenage son as I'm eyeballing DJ right in the face. He's like, "I don't get it." I'm like, "No, don't worry. You'll get it in a couple years when you're telling me to go bleep myself."
Right.
"You're not the boss of me, Dad."
Yeah, I
was like, "My little dumpling."
I felt kind of bad because I'm watching it and I'm like, I'm into it and I understand what they're doing, and there's these people to my left who are just cackling maniacally at the whole thing, you know, especially when the lady takes the dumpling and shoves it in her mouth, you know, and they're just laughing their fool heads off, and I'm like, come on, guys, this is supposed to be, you know, this is deep, right?
Well, I think they tried to do that, and so because I mean, it was funny. One thing I do and I don't like about going to see movies the first weekend they come out is everyone is a little extra boisterous, a little more chatty Cathys come to the theater those opening weekends, and they tend to ooh and ah in excess, and "Oh my God, did you see that?" It's like, yes, I'm sitting right here, butthead.
Right.
I'm right next to you.
Right.
Sorry.
Squirrel. No, it's cool. Speaking of like titles getting broken or whatever, of course, the Avengers passed the Titanic.
What?
Is the largest domestic all-time gross.
No.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
No.
Finally.
No, why?
Because Avengers is awesome.
But Jack, and
the boat sinks, Dave. Get over it.
No, but there was room for Jack on the headboard, okay? She's a murdering woman. She's a murderer.
Okay, fair enough. Do you see that rumor that... is it Tom Kane, who voices Yoda in the Clone Wars, claims that there are 9 movies in development, including more of the story standalone deals from Lucasfilm. Yeah.
You know, I'm just kind of hoping they're going to learn from the whole Solo debacle. I mean, it's not a debacle, but I mean, it's just... I really hope they learn something where it's like, okay, you know what? Yes, there's a nostalgic movement where we still love this stuff, but you better give me something new and not some old washed up crap that you just, hey, let's just do an old Solo film.
Right.
No, I don't want to hear about Boba Fett anymore either. If they keep going down the I mean, Lucas already screwed that up by making it a whole bunch of little crybaby clones. I'm not down with that.
Right. Fair enough.
Not.
Fair enough. Do you want to get into EA and all before we get to our guest in a minute?
No. Let's get to that a little bit later.
Okay.
I mean, we got a little bit of time. I mean, the E3, it's officially wrapped up now, huh?
It is. It wrapped up on Thursday, I believe.
Oh, okay. See, I've been MIA for a little while, so we've got a list of when all the games come out. I've got a whole bunch of trailers that we could probably go through, but I wanted to talk about the Overwatch League, especially with the finals going on right now. We're in, and then contract negotiations coming up, and then we have our guest, another guest. Jeez, we're just jam packed, buddy. Let's go ahead and take a break, and then when we come back, we'll talk to Preston Byers of .esports.com.
All right, sounds good.
All right, take us to break, buddy.
All right, guys. When we get back, we'll hear from our guest, Preston Byers, talking about the Overwatch League, the draft process, the free agents, and all that good stuff. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. D4 Tabletop Gaming Cafe is open at 8228 Oak Street, just 2 blocks off of Carrollton. D4 Tabletop Gaming Cafe has your RPGs and TCGs and a wall full of board games to rent both in-store and to take home. It's not just a game shop. As the name D4 Tabletop Gaming Cafe says, it's also a cafe serving real food at great prices. Po' boys, salads, wraps, soups, pastries, and more. So head out to 8228 Oak Street and have some fun. And when it's all over, they'll clean up after you and all your nasty friends.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as My Enemy's Tears, Goth Librarian, Cyberpunk, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
Do you have a message or logo that you need the world to see? Then rely on the folks at Gretna Signworks to use their expertise to deliver your design. With over 15 years in business, Gretna Signworks can do commercial and yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, magnetic signs, vehicle graphics and lettering, and so much more. Gretna Signworks also has an exceptional network of suppliers, so no job is out of scope. Find Gretna Signworks on Facebook or visit them at 2125 Bell Chase Highway today.
Mata Hari, Agent H21, is a spy fiction short story anthology about the famous dancer, seductress, and spy from World War I. Mata Hari, Agent H21, published by Pro Se Productions, has 7 rip-roaring adventure tales about the world-famous super spy that features her battling her enemies by using any weapons at her disposal. Mata Hari, Agent H21 is available for purchase in ebook and paperback formats on Amazon.com.
Black Tie Tans, the premier mobile spray tanning professionals of New Orleans. Black Tie Tans will come to you and give you a natural glistening glow on the go. First-time customers get 20% off their first tan. Find them on Facebook at Black Tie Tans or email them at blacktieTans@gmail.com to set your appointment. Going to a wedding? Going out to the club? Black Tie Tans will give you the look you need. Black Tie Tans. Tell your pale friends.
Now back to Local Celebrity, Brian Held. Hey, D Squared, meet me at the bar at 7 p.m. We'll have 2 drinks and then drink till 9 p.m. I'm already intoxicated. I hope there's a big taxi to take me home.
Welcome back to the Week in Geek, where we are the home of the drunk voice guy.
Yeah.
That guy.
That was you on Friday, right?
That was me on Friday. I was a train wreck of a person.
Yeah.
So thanks for bringing that up, pal.
You're welcome.
Pal line.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's bring on our guest, Mr. Preston Byers, contributing writer at .esports.com. Preston, how you doing today, man?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well. All right. So look, I'm actually watching the Overwatch League here in the studio right now. Excelsior and Dallas Fuel taking each other on. I can't see the score. What the hell? Oh, it's 2-2?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself there, Preston. What do you do over there besides being a contributing writer?
I basically am covering any esport that I encounter. Since we don't have a gigantic team, we have to share roles sometimes. So I write about Counter-Strike one day, Call of Duty the next, Fortnite, League of Legends, Overwatch. So I try to keep myself updated on all of the esports, or at least all of the major esports.
Absolutely.
Cool.
So now look, this is one of the things that I saw that made me want to reach out to you. So the Overwatch League is setting the free agency start date and how the new contenders rules, and it introduces 2-way players. What the hell does all that mean, dude?
So basically, starting with the 2-way players, it's similar to how NHL has 2-way players where they can be called up to the NHL, but they also spend a lot of time in the development league, so the AHL. And it's the same thing for the Overwatch League. Players can play, I think, up to 2 matches in the Overwatch League, but they spend most of the time in the Contender Series, where it's a lot of younger players, less experienced players, and that's where they're trying to develop. And the free agency is just basically what the NBA is about to start.
So, Preston, the Contender Series, is that like the online stuff that anybody can get into?
Yeah, it's a path to pro for them. It's the entry for players to get into competitive Overwatch. Obviously, it's a very high skilled league still, but it's more accessible for everyone instead of the Overwatch League.
Like me, because I've been training just like the Karate Kid. I'm going to make it. I'm making it one day. You watch, Brian. Watch. It's gonna happen.
What do you think? Real quick, what do you think about this first season of the Overwatch League? I mean, you're saying you're covering a lot of different esports, so I'm sure there's been leagues running for a while. Call of Duty's been running for a while. All the StarCraft 2 stuff has been running for a while. What do you think about this opening inaugural season for Overwatch?
I think it's definitely been really interesting because many people were skeptical at the beginning because there wasn't a very big esports scene because Overwatch hasn't been around for very long. So it was people were skeptical, and I think that they've exceeded expectations. They pull in at least 100,000 viewers every stream, and I think that's really all you can ask for when you've only been a game for 2 years and your esports scene has been developed even less. But I think I believe there's going to be more investors and bigger investors coming, so I think that they've done their job in the first season.
So yeah, I'm watching it right now. There's 191,000 people watching this right now.
No, it's great stuff, man.
Yeah. So and to kind of piggyback on what Preston just said, we're talking about the major sports too. Bob Kraft, who owns the Patriots. You've got the people who own the Colorado Avalanche are part owners. You've got Major League Sports that are team owners that are owning, parts of the Overwatch League. So now, one of the things I wanted to talk about, too, was now that this free agency start date and the inaugural contracts come to an end. So what is this window we're looking at about how everybody's supposed to, get the new contracts rolling?
Yeah, so on September 9th, so it would be about a month and a half after the season ends, on September 9th, the expansion teams get their exclusive window for free agents. Okay. And they haven't announced which expansion teams are coming, but those teams will get an entire month to themselves to talk to free agents, where the original Overwatch League teams can't. And then October 8th, everybody can. Everybody has the shot at free agents. But it's still, I think that month is really big because you can throw money, you can get 3-year contracts with these players where those original teams can't talk to them for a month.
Yeah, that's pretty big. So now that's the thing. So they become a free agent if they don't renew the inaugural contract. Is that how that's happening?
I believe so, because everybody in the first season was a mandated a 1-year contract because it's a new thing. You don't want to get locked down into a multi-year contract. But there are options for the contract. So in the NBA where you have a 1-year option, it's the exact same thing for Overwatch League. Some of those players have 1-year options, but it's unclear of which players do because the Overwatch League hasn't publicized the contract details for players.
So in this first season, we've had 12 teams competing, and you mentioned expansion teams. How many expansion teams are we getting?
I have no clue, but I would be very shocked to see any less than 4 come in and make a 16-team league. Because I think a lot of people were surprised that there were just 12 in the original season because there's so many investors, there's so many talks. Like you said, Robert Kraft is in it. The New York Mets owner is in it. So you would think that some of the smaller investors, but still filthy rich investors, would still be able to get in, but they didn't come in. So I would expect at least 4, but there's no indication by Blizzard or otherwise that there's a set amount that's coming in next season.
Yeah, right. A lot of the rumors are swirling around Berlin, more European teams.
Right.
And then I think they're looking for another Asian Pan-Pacific.
Absolutely. There's so much esports going on out in, Korea, South Korea, Japan, all that good stuff.
We're visiting with Preston Byers of .esports.com, contributing writer. Now, Preston, it has been my dream this entire season to become a Shanghai Dragon because it's the crappiest team, and that's probably the only way I'll ever get on those teams. What are your thoughts about the poor Shanghai Dragons, though, in all reality?
It's really disappointing. As a Cleveland Browns fan, I'm regularly disappointed, but so I can relate to Shanghai fans, but at the same time, that's incredibly disappointing to see your team lose not only a lot of games, but literally every single game. And you play 40, so it's even more disappointing than, I would say, the Browns, since you only play 16. And they had so much hype because they signed Guguri, the first woman player in the OWL, and she did very well for the team relatively, but they're just not a good team, and they have a lot of bad habits and a lot of really poor player management this season.
Look, man, I feel your pain. I've been a Saints fan all my life, and it wasn't until a few years ago that they were worth a crap. So, look, I feel your pain, man. All right, well, Preston, how can our listeners track you down on the internet? What's your Twitter handle? Where else can we find you on the internet?
So you can read my articles at esports.com, and you can follow me on Twitter at Preston Byers. That's mostly where I post. I try to post every article, but again, the best way to follow the articles is esports.com, because you can get pretty much any esport you want and any game-related news on that site.
Absolutely. All right, well, Preston, look, hold on for a second as we go to break here. Guys, stay tuned. Brian, who's our next guest? Man, it's like a guest bonanza tonight.
I know. Author Stephen Moore, he's talking about his Gnome Legends series. Also, he's talking about he has a how to draw book, and it's a great pairing companion for the novel series. So,
absolutely. All right, guys, you are listening to The Week in Geek. We'll be right back after these short commercial messages.
D4 Tabletop Gaming Cafe is open at 8228 Oak Street, just 2 blocks off of Carrollton. D4 Tabletop Gaming Cafe has your RPGs and TCGs and a wall full of board games to rent both in-store and to take home. It's not just a game shop. As the name D4 Tabletop Gaming Cafe says, it's also a cafe serving real food at great prices. Po' boys, salads, wraps, soups, pastries, and more. So head out to 8228 Oak Street and have some fun. And when it's all over, they'll clean up after you and all your nasty friends.
Black Tie Tans, the premier mobile spray tanning professionals of New Orleans. Black Tie Tans will come to you and give you a natural glistening glow on the go. First-time customers get 20% off their first tan. Find them on Facebook at Black Tie Tans or email them at blacktieTans@gmail.com to set your appointment. Going to a wedding? Going out to the club? Black Tie Tans will give you the look you need. Black Tie Tans. Tell your pale friends.
Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid by Nancy Hansen, is now an audiobook read for you by Brian Held. It's a tale of a young girl from Tortuga who disguises herself as a boy and bluffs her way onto a pirate ship, chasing after her one true love, only to find adventure on the high seas. Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid is available on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. Get your copy of Jezebel Johnston today.
Do you have a message or logo that you need the world to see? Then rely on the folks at Gretna Signworks to use their expertise to deliver your design. With over 15 years in business, Gretna Signworks can do commercial and yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, magnetic signs, vehicle graphics and lettering, and so much more. Gretna Signworks also has an exceptional network of suppliers, so no job is out of scope. Find Gretna Signworks on Facebook or visit them at 2125 Bell Chase Highway today.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as My Enemy's Tears, Goth Librarian, Cyberpunk, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
Welcome back to The Week in Geek. Don't forget, you can listen to previous episodes on the iHeartRadio app at The Week in Geek Radio Show. Here are your hosts, D Squared and Brian Held.
This is Brian Held with the Week in Geek Radio Show on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. And I'm joined by author Stephen Moore. Stephen, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, man. So before we get into your books, I want to ask you, because the genres that you're dealing with are science fiction, fantasy, comic books. So what drew you to those genres to write about?
Oh, I guess I've, since a kid, have been raised with sci-fi and fantasy. My father was into sci-fi. As far as the comic book angle, I learned to draw because my uncle used to give me large bags of comic books to read, and I would use those to learn to draw from.
Okay, that's fair. Your first book is Gnome Legends Exile, which you gave us a copy of when we met in person at QuestCon out in Mobile. Tell me about putting this book together and what's it about?
Well, first putting it together, I had to decide, who my target audience was, who I wanted to read the book. Well, I kind of was hoping the entire family, but I also wanted to make sure the entire family could read it. That includes like the upper middle grade or teenager or young adult. So that's kind of where I aimed it, towards the upper middle grade or young adult reader.
Okay. And you have this labeled as a downtime read. And I'm guessing you mentioned prior to the interview about a focus on reluctant readers. Do you know some reluctant readers?
Yeah, I mean, I've encountered friends and their kids who are reluctant readers. Fortunately, my daughter loves to read, although we're also hoping to adopt, so maybe our new kids might have a problem with it. But yeah, I've known some children who were reluctant readers. It's just, I don't think kids get enough motivation to read these days.
Right. Oh, that's definitely true. What's the synopsis of Gnome Legends Exile? What's the short view of it?
Exile, and actually into the next book a little bit too, is you have a gnome boy king. His parents are killed. He goes into exile. The book is sort of a character-driven book, mainly of the people around him and what they're having to do to sort of keep him safe, and then, the dangerous and magical world he's in and how everything affects them and how he is growing, and it's all about him and his adventure.
All right, that's fair. And I read this myself. I enjoyed it. I thought that there's some good characterization in there, and it's not just about the king, but also his young upcoming historian who's writing his story, right?
That is correct, and I found it interesting. She's basically just a catalyst for the story, a way of telling it. But I've had so many people say, I want to know more about her. I want to know more about Tala.
Right. No, that's good. Now, let's switch focus a little bit. You have another book of which you gave us a copy, the how-to book for artists who can't draw. And what I find fascinating about this is there's a focus of science fiction, fantasy, and comic books in here. However, it's an excellent companion to Gnome Legends because the artwork in Gnome Legends is somewhat featured in here. I mean, I recognize some of the characters from your book, so what an excellent pairing. But tell me about the how-to book.
Well, I created it as two elements. I wanted to make it something for a person who picks up a how-to book and puts it right back down because it scares them off. I wanted something that really is friendly to somebody who doesn't know where to start and needs some encouragement to draw. So it starts off with a coloring book, over 15 pages or so of sci-fi fantasy coloring pages to get a little eye-hand coordination, a little bit of confidence going, and then it moves you into several steps, working with little stick figures, tracing, works with grids and a few other elements to sort of just keep building your self-esteem and getting some eye-hand coordination, a few skills, until at the end of it, if you put the actual time into it, you'll be ready to go to, say, another how-to draw book and feel confident.
Well, and the illustrations are excellent. I mean, and I guess it's a big advantage that you're also an illustrator in addition to a writer because you're doing your own artwork for the books, right?
Oh, yeah. It's all my artwork. And, I didn't have to sit down with a writer to do the artwork for me, or I didn't have to sit down with an artist to do it for me. It makes it kind of comfortable because you can go through it, write it out, do your own drafts and editing until, of course, you have to hand it over to another editor who's going to go through and fix all your stupid mistakes.
Right. So tell me about the second book in Gnome Legends. What's that one about?
That one is called Froghaven and the Blood-Tide Stone, and it picks up a few years later. Logan he's still a kid, but he's developed some skills. He's now become a bit of a fighter, and it goes through his character development and trying to get back the throne. A little bit more danger, a little bit more battle. The stakes rise. You've got some characters in there that, like an example is I have a mimic race, which is this large elephant-like mutated character who has vines and stuff. He's very dangerous, very deadly. So everything is a little bit more dangerous, a little bit higher stakes, but it's still a character-driven thing with all the different characters, including that bad guy, by the way.
All right.
And then at the end of it, I have a secondary story that builds up on some of the characters from the first one. It tells about the wizard and how he met his apprentice.
Good deal. Now, we're talking with Stephen Moore, author of Gnome Legends and the how-to book for artists who can't draw. Now, Stephen, this is a world that you've built. This is your own intellectual property. What sort of directions do you have for taking this further? Are there more novels, more how-to books that are going to be in the future?
As far as the how-to book, I'm in the process of adding to it and fine-tuning it. I don't know that I'll make a series or if I'll just expand on it and make newer editions of the one that I have, and I am doing that right now. Gnome Legends, yes, definitely. I am currently working on the third book, which is called The Timeless Crystal, and it actually has a small element of time travel with sort of a steampunk feel to parts of it because you have a character from 1890s who travels to this world, and she has to try to survive in this strange magical world with lots of dangers and such.
Wow. I know our steampunk fans are going to, be excited to hear about that. I always love seeing steampunk stuff. It's such a rich and vibrant genre to write in.
I'm enjoying it a lot, and I'm bringing in characters like Nikola Tesla and Samuel Clemens to sort of, give some solidity to the base of the characters.
Man, that's great. Anything with Tesla in it is good in my book. So, go ahead.
Just, doing research for this thing, I wouldn't be surprised to find out he had put his fingers into some time travel research.
There you go. That's awesome. So we are getting close to a commercial break. Can you please tell folks where they can go to find your books, find out more about this world that you've built around Gnome Legends?
Okay, well, first of all, the books are available on Amazon, but you can also go to www.grimtrojan.com. Everything you need to know is there.
Okay. Any social media?
I have Facebook and Twitter, but I'm afraid I'm not real good at upkeeping them.
All right, no, that's
most everything is on my website.
All right, no, and look, social media is a beast that you constantly have to feed. I totally get it. All right, well, Stephen, we look forward to the next novel that's coming out from Gnome Legends and the update on your how-to book. That sounds great.
Okay, and thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. Guys, stay tuned. When we get back, we're going to close out the show as we always do with This Week in Geek History. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as My Enemy's Tears, Goth Librarian, Cyberpunk, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
Black Tie Tans, the premier mobile spray tanning professionals of New Orleans. Black Tie Tans will come to you and give you a natural glistening glow on the go. First-time customers get 20% off their first tan. Find them on Facebook at Black Tie Tans or email them at blacktieTans@gmail.com to set your appointment. Going to a wedding? Going out to the club? Black Tie Tans will give you the look you need. Black Tie Tans. Tell your pale friends.
D4 Tabletop Gaming Cafe is open at 8228 Oak Street, just 2 blocks off of Carrollton. D4 Tabletop Gaming Cafe has your RPGs and TCGs and a wall full of board games to rent both in-store and to take home. It's not just a game shop. As the name D4 Tabletop Gaming Cafe says, it's also a cafe serving real food at great prices. Po' boys, salads, wraps, soups, pastries, and more. So head out to 8228 Oak Street and have some fun. And when it's all over, they'll clean up after you and all your nasty friends.
Do you have a message or logo that you need the world to see? Then rely on the folks at Gretna Signworks to use their expertise to deliver your design. With over 15 years in business, Gretna Signworks can do commercial and yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, magnetic signs, vehicle graphics and lettering, and so much more. Gretna Signworks also has an exceptional network of suppliers, so no job is out of scope. Find Gretna Signworks on Facebook or visit them at 2125 Bell Chase Highway today.
Mata Hari, Agent H21, is a spy fiction short story anthology about the famous dancer, seductress, and spy from World War I. Mata Hari, Agent H21, published by Pro Se Productions, has 7 rip-roaring adventure tales about the world-famous super spy that features her battling her enemies by using any weapons at her disposal. Mata Hari, Agent H21 is available for purchase in ebook and paperback formats on Amazon.com.
Hello, this is Chris Walken. If you've got a hankering for more cowbell, you can get it on The Week in Geek. Come on.
Welcome back. This is The Week in Geek with me, D Squared, and...
Brian Held.
Brian Held, that's you.
Yes.
That's you, buckaroo. Now, as always, we want to strongly urge you to check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Week in Geek. Check out our website at twigradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twigradio and the Instagram's The Week in Geek. Now, Brian, how can people listen to this lovely show?
Well, if you missed any part of tonight's show or you want to catch your favorite part again, you can always find us on Spreaker.com or download Spreaker for your smartphone or tablet. We're also on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play, the iHeartRadio app, and at WRNO.com. And speaking of social media, we are 3 short likes away from 4,000 likes on our Facebook page. Yes.
Damn.
I know.
Well, we just had like 2 guests, so like if we get both of our guests to like the Facebook page, we'll just grab some random jamoke on the street. Yeah. Like the page!
Right, exactly. And one other thing I want to mention is that our comic book T-shirts are still available right now for a limited time, probably another 2 weeks right now. I got to check the dates, but regardless, if you go to twigradio.com, you can find the links to our store page that our our merchandising manager is taking care of the stores.
Mr. Merchafava?
Yes.
So, hey, I can actually now admit and talk about it because now it's actually happening tomorrow on Sports 1280. Me.
Yes.
The D League with D Squared, Monday through Friday, 2 to 4. And actually, we're going to be talking a whole lot of esports. So if, land acquisition isn't your thing, like Brian,
right,
not a big fan of land acquisition, then maybe the esports will be up your alley. And, look, I've been scouring the internet. That's where I found Preston.
Right.
That website, it's got a lot of good articles on it there, too.
And you are going to sneak a little bit of top nerd news in there, right?
Absolutely. I'm bringing you on. I'm going to have Skungy on, man. The whole gang's coming over with us to 1280, man.
Cool.
We're growing, baby. We're growing. All right, let's get to it.
This week in Geek History.
We're sending you back to the future! Yes! Oh my God!
This Week in Geek History is brought to you by Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid by Nancy Hansen, read by Brian Held. Available on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. This Week in Geek History.
Yes! Oh my gosh!
Da-na-na, da-na-na, blah. You know, I forgot to tell you what my favorite part of the show is, you know? Like, you always say you can download and listen to your favorite part again.
Yeah, what's your favorite part?
Well, it just reminded me of Jezebel Johnston, but we have that new book, Matahari.
Yes.
That's my new favorite part of the show, Matahari.
You like that?
I do. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
All right. On June 11th, 1978. I don't think kids are going to know the wonders of this. Texas Instruments Incorporated introduces the Speak and Spell.
Oh, my God. You know what I watched on Saturday?
What?
E.T.
Oh, yeah.
E.T., and he had a Speak and Spell in E.T.
Mm-hmm.
I got misty-eyed again. When they killed that poor little alien, it makes me so sad.
Yeah. And, you know,
home.
Right. And, you know, if maybe the batteries were wearing down, it was like, you know, Speak and Spell with a demon.
Good. See, kids will never know those joys.
I know. Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, next on my list, June 12th, 1981. Let's see how fast you can hit the right hotkey.
Oh, geez.
Mel Brooks releases History of the World Part 1. You don't know which one?
No.
The Inquisition.
No. Oh, I don't have that anymore.
Oh, you don't?
No. That's a great... I'm going to search. I'm going to have to search for it. Inquisition. Yes. All right. I'm searching Inquisition.
Oh, God.
Okay. I must have deleted it.
Oh, well. No big deal. But no, I love that movie. It's a great movie.
Yes. It absolutely is.
All right. Next item on my list, June 13th, 1983. Pioneer 10 becomes the first man-made object to leave the solar system. So,
what?
Pioneer 10,
okay,
right, is a space satellite observation object from NASA.
Space garbage.
No, that they shot it off of Earth and they went past Jupiter.
So it went past Uranus and it went past Pluto.
Well, specifically Jupiter first, in order to get some images from Jupiter and use its gravity to sling it toward out of our solar system.
Oh.
And that's Pioneer 10 and Pioneer 11 are the two satellites that have those gold discs or the gold plates.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that aliens can come and find and destroy us with.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It has all the information.
Right, exactly.
Wow, look at this violent species.
Right.
Let's go kill them first.
And there's when I was looking it up, one of the Star Trek...
Was that like V'ger from Star Trek, V'ger?
Well, that was Voyager.
Yeah, no, but it was V'ger. They kept calling it V'ger.
They did. No, but one of the Star Treks, the Klingons used, I think it was Pioneer 11 as target practice, and they blew it up.
Bastards!
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Man.
All right, let's see.
Pay.
Let's see if you can guess this next one. June 15th, 1990. Directed by Warren Beatty and starring Warren Beatty, Mandy Patinkin, Al Pacino, and Madonna.
Oh, Dick Tracy.
There you go.
Bam. I don't know Warren Beatty from anything but Dick Tracy.
Fair enough.
I know he did a whole bunch of stuff, but that was like the first, almost like the first comic book movie, almost. Not really, but I mean, it was the first, like, what, 4-color, movie, because it had that yellow trench coat, and everything was very, like just like the original comics. It was just like the 4 colors.
Yeah,
everybody wore green, yellow, blue, or red.
At the time, it was great. All right.
Yeah, Madonna.
Yeah.
It was the 80s. We all made lots of mistakes.
Yep. All right. June 16th, 2009. Ghostbusters the video game is released in the United States, and it features a modified version of the proposed Ghostbusters 3 script.
Wait, what?
Right, so they released the game like in 2009, like I said.
Okay.
And there was a script at the time that they were trying to sell Bill Murray on for Ghostbusters 3.
Okay.
And so they incorporated a modified version of that into the video game.
Oh, in the hopes that he would play the game and be like, wow, what a great idea.
Well,
I suddenly feel like I want to get paid.
I guess they wanted to get some use out of it since they weren't going to make the movie.
No, they did not.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever get another Ghostbusters again. I don't think we'll ever get another one.
I don't know. We'll see.
I'm going to go with no. I'm a betting man. I'm going to bet no.
Okay. We'll
What would you rather see? Do you want to see a reboot? Now, we don't want reboots. This is not the house of reboots here.
I would like to see a continuation of the series that franchises it off like they originally intended, right? Basically, when the first movies were made, the idea was that Ghostbusters would become a franchise-type entity where, you'd see Ghostbusters in multiple cities. Okay. And then they could, spread it around, and you could...
Oh, so leave New York and don't have that pink happy snot and make the Statue of Liberty walk around town?
Right. You could go pretty much anywhere. And
go to Las Vegas ghosts.
Exactly.
I wonder how many people have had heart attacks playing a slot machine. Vegas is haunted as bleep.
Dude.
It is haunted as bleep. I'm telling you.
I'm sure they would welcome with open arms dead people to come in and gamble as long as you're spending money.
We have dead people vote here all the time in New Orleans.
There you go.
Go gamble in Vegas, baby.
All right.
Tangent.
Yes. My last item on my history list is June 17th, 1983. Superman 3 is released in the U.S.
Was that with Richard Pryor?
Richard Pryor is a hacker. Yes.
I love Richard Pryor. Mm-hmm. The Toy is the best movie God ever gave us.
That was a good movie.
That was the best movie ever.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to say what I just... Moving
on to birthdays. On the 11th, Peter Dinklage.
Hey, all right. Everybody should have a friend.
Yes.
That drinks and knows things.
I know.
You were wondering where I was going with that.
There you go.
So was
on the 12th, Jason Mewes.
Oh, yeah. That's from Clerks.
Yeah, right.
I
Jay.
can't remember. Yeah, Jay.
Yeah, which he is going to be...
$15, little man. Put that bleep
in my hand, right? He is going to be a guest at Gulf Coast Fan Fest this October.
Get out.
Yes.
Really?
So if any of our friends here in the Gulf Coast region would like to go meet Jason Mewes, he will be there hanging out. So go check him out. On the 13th, Chris Evans.
Captain America.
Or he was also in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
He was.
Mm-hmm.
He was very quiet, wasn't he? He was like he just... I thought he was.
He was like a movie star in the
that's
deal.
Right, yeah.
Right. Which, for his birthday, I posted this on our Facebook page. Mm-hmm. The director of that made some fake movie posters and posted it to his page for his birthday. Like, happy birthday, here you go. But it was all from Scott Pilgrim.
Okay.
Let's see. On the 14th, voice actor from anime and video games, Kyle Hebert, is born.
It's spelled Hebert, but it's pronounced Hebert.
He's from Lake Charles.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, one of our homeboys. Let me go ahead and put that in there.
Yeah.
On the 15th, Neil Patrick Harris.
Hey, everybody should do coke off a stripper's butt.
Okay.
Just putting it out there. So did he, Neil Patrick Harris.
Yes.
He and I were tight like that.
And on the 17th, Arthur Darvill. Rory Williams from Doctor Who. Remember Amy and Rory?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, who cares?
He was the Roman that never stopped, and,
whatever.
You're so sad, Dave.
I am. Sad, strange little man.
All right.
Fallout
76.
Fallout 76. We only got 2 minutes, but here, let's listen to this.
Okay.
300 years after our great nation began, we gathered together to honor the completion of Vault 76. This sprawling underground shelter may have been engineered by Vault Tech, but it was built by you. So that if the bombs do come, our way of life will endure. For when the fighting is stopped and the fallout has settled, you must rebuild. Not just walls, not just buildings, but hearts and minds, and ultimately, America itself.
Country roads, yeah.
So I'm excited. I got my collector's Powered Armor edition of Fallout 76.
Yes.
Which I almost didn't get.
I know that the trials and tribulations of getting pre-orders when they got really cool swag that comes with it.
It's brutal. And this is the only
And you
game.
had to physically bring your ass to the store, right?
Yes, I had to go to Skungy's GameStop, and the first time that I went, they had sold out. Like, he saw it in the morning. I got there to the store. They were gone. I left. He called me, and he's like, they just load them up again. They got more. I ran over there, and he's processing my transaction while I'm driving. Ran in, slapped that debit card in the machine.
Take my money, please.
Yes.
So, yeah, it comes out November 14th, and we're going to get some more in-depth coverage of the E3 stuff. Let's just say Daddy's not going to drink for a while.
Okay, that's good. And maybe next week? Because Skungy's actually in Houston right now at Anthrax.
Yes. All right, so time to go, buddy. All right, till next time, keep your nerd flag raised high.
GFL.
Your new home for Walton and Johnson. News Talk 99.5 WRNO FM, New Orleans, an iHeart radio station.